Is my out of control hair okay?
Yeah.
You should have seen me
I'm
today
trying
in
to
the
get
wind.
mine.
Right was running away from me today in the wind. We get to do a countdown again?
Yeah,
That's really fun.
that is fun.
Yeah. Hello everyone. We are here today with Selepri Amachree, and we had talked about his civil rights case, and you might not know it, but Sheriff Dale Schmidt and Kurt Klomberg, our district attorney, have been trying to push this lawsuit under the rug. They're trying to sweep it under the rug. They have found a way to get it dismissed, and it shouldn't be. We want this to go through the court system because we want discovery on all the facts that are presented here. And I figure what better way to let you know what's going on there and not keep it a secret is to have Selepri here with us, and that's what we do. Selepri, welcome.
Thank you.
And maybe for everybody, just tell us a little bit about yourself and get everybody familiar with who you are and what you're about and, you know, that kind of thing. Appreciate that if you could.
Sure. My name is Selepri, and I play music, and I work with what's called the Extreme Intervention Project. It's my company that I have had for about 16 years now. I help people who have drug and alcohol problems, and I help get them into programs, and like just recently helped a guy, instead of 1 year in prison, he's going to go and do 1 year in a program. And it's about making people's lives better. It's about trying to, you know, do the kind of thing that helps people to get their lives back on track. You know, that's it. I needed that at one point in my life, and now it's kind of the payback to help others to do the same thing. So,
Wow, that's really nice. You know, wouldn't it be great if you could just put someone in jail and their drug addictions would just disappear because of that? It ain't going to work that way.
no,
There's more to it, isn't there?
there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah. And so through your experiences and through what you've learned through them, you now are able to help others. That's what it's
Yes.
about? Great,
Yes.
great. So evidently that sort of hit a roadblock, I could say, huh? What happened, you know, or do you want to give us some more information about how you got to where you are first, or you want to go into what's
Well, as
going
far
on?
as what? I mean, you're in control. You
Well,
just
I'm
throw
yeah,
out
I'm in
the
control, right?
question.
You're a whole lot bigger than I am. I don't know if I'm in control. But all right, so you say you got into a little trouble yourself, and you learned things. There's no secrets. You've always been straightforward about everything in your life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I do public speaking. And
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that staunchly believes that it's very hard to help people if it's not genuine. And genuine means that I've at least been through what you've been through, and I can relate to what you're going through. So if I can relate to what you're going through and I've come out of it, then 9 out of 10, I'm somebody that can help you through it. So I had a jail supervisor up in Marquette, Michigan. He calls me. He says I'm the guy that jumps into holes. And I said, what does that mean? And he goes, you jump into holes because you know how to climb out of the hole. So you jump into the hole and you help people out of the holes. And I was like, wow, I'd never kind of, you know, thought of it that way. But that's exactly kind of what it is. My whole model is called the Samaritan intervention model, and it's based on the Good Samaritan and what he did for the man who was broken, you know, by the road. He's the outsider that comes in, one-on-one, helps this guy to mend his wounds, his immediate wounds, the immediate needs that guy had. The Samaritan came and he worked on that. And then he didn't say, okay, we're cool now, you got to go. He took him and then he put him on his horse. And he took him to the place where he needed to go. And then on top of that, he paid for him to be in there. So that model is called the Samaritan intervention model. And I wrote that probably around 2010, 11.
Okay, so you've been doing this a while then.
Yes. About
And
16 years.
your, what they like to say, success rate? You've been pretty-
97.6%.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's because you invest yourself into it.
I
It's
can
not
see that.
it's not one of these things where you're just, hey, you've got a drug problem or you've got an alcohol problem or you've got some kind of problem. Let me take you to a program and throw you
Yeah,
in there. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
your next door neighbor can tell you where to go. You know, it's
Hmm.
like, hey, there's
Yeah.
a program up the street. But what I do is I actually assess where people need to be and what they need to do and what they need. And I take them to those particular places and I make sure they walk through the doors.
So when defense lawyers or judges knew you did that type of thing, they reached out to you,
They
maybe?
would gravitate
Okay.
because the courts need that stuff.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
courts are starving for that kind of thing.
yeah. Because we do want to help people. I mean, that's the whole goal, you know.
Yes.
But addiction to drugs that can really bring people down. They do things that they probably normally wouldn't want to do, maybe, just because they have to feed that.
Yep.
Right.
It's survival.
So it's not just a matter of go to this place, spend the time there, and you're okay. I read the suit you put together and all the backer information. Would you mind telling us a little bit about your experience with Jesus Christ?
Sure.
That would be
I was raised Episcopal. I grew up in, so Episcopal is very much branch of the Catholic
sure,
Church.
sure.
So then, after I had my issues with drugs and alcohol, I went through a program called Teen Challenge. And that opened my eyes very much to more of a relationship with God and opening that door with how to have that connection and how to have God right there in your life every day, all the time, because that's where He is. And a lot of times we spend time living life without that knowledge, without that realization that even when I'm struggling, He's right there. So when I graduated from Teen Challenge, I went through a program that was called TCMI, which was a ministry institute, and I learned how to teach, and I got my credentials to be a pastor. And then I moved on from there and went to Virginia and took on an administrative director's position with the program.
Oh, so you stayed in the
I was,
within
yeah, and I try to
yeah.
do the same thing with my students.
It's true. When these people feel alone, that's when trouble happens. But if you can understand that relationship you have with God through Jesus Christ, you realize you are never alone,
Right.
and that can be powerful to pull you through.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's the direction you took. You became more of a leader there, than the way it sounds.
Yeah, I took on an administrative position
Uh-huh.
and helped people to learn how to help people get their lives back together. And I did that for 4 years in Virginia.
Boy, that's something that everybody needs when they're in trouble, I tell you. So then, how did you get here?
I
in
was going to ask you
Wisconsin?
the same question.
I was born here.
Oh, well, see,
Hartford,
it
Wisconsin.
was easy
in the
for
hospital,
you.
yeah.
It was easy for you. So I grew up in Illinois, and like I said, at the end of kind of my drug path, I was a program director in Virginia.
Yes.
So then I started this process where the extreme intervention kind of birthed out of. And that, along with my band was in Milwaukee.
Okay, music, yeah.
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
I would travel 5 hours for band rehearsal. And so finally, I ended up staying with a family. It was the aunt and uncle of a girl that I had helped and put into a program. They were like, why don't you just come live with us so you don't have
Wow.
to drive 5 hours
Okay.
for your
Okay.
band rehearsals.
Okay.
So I went and I lived with them, and it was through a process of, someone was like, oh, hey, have you heard of this Christian mingle thing? And I was like, I don't know, And so it was one of those, yeah, all right, I'll give it a shot. And it was a window of, I would say, 2 weeks. And within that window of 2 weeks where I was willing to actually try it out, I met my wife.
No kidding. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now we've been married for 8 years.
Fantastic. How did you come up with the name Extreme Intervention?
Because what I do is unlike, I've had so many people tell me, they're like, we looked this stuff up and it's, nobody does this. Like, nobody does what you do. I was literally talking with a probation officer today who was like, you get to jump these hurdles that other people can't cross. You know, the whole concept of being able to just put somebody on a plane and take them to New York, like we're about to do next week. I'm about to
Okay.
take a guy to New York and put him in the program. The people don't have the opportunity to do that. I was talking to somebody about the peer support specialist, and they were frustrated. And I was like, why are you frustrated? And they're like, we can't even take somebody to court.
Oh,
And
okay.
you don't want to go, well then, what good are you?
Yeah.
But it's true. The peer support specialists put in a lot of work, and their experience as addicts and alcoholics become, absolutely necessary in what they do, which I have the same
Yes.
experience.
Right.
But what I do is just, it seems to be at a completely different level. And again, that's why I believe it's so successful.
So you have a lot more flexibility to be who you must be for that person to help them
Absolutely.
through whatever they're going through.
Absolutely.
That's good. That's good. So you met your now wife there in Chicago, you said?
She's from
She's
here.
from here, though.
Yeah, she's from Beaver Dam.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even know what a beaver dam was. I thought it was something an animal made and put, in the middle of a river.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could actually
Yeah,
live in one.
nice try, yeah. So when you came to Beaver Dam, you started getting involved in Dodge County
Yeah, I mean,
business?
by the time I came to Beaver Dam, to the Dodge County area, I had already been doing my job for like 13
Sure,
years.
sure.
I was already established across the country, with court systems, with district attorneys, with sheriffs.
Across the country?
Yeah, I work across the
Wow.
country.
Okay.
Courthouses, courtrooms, families, all across the United States.
That means that you had to have a connection with some of these people to call you in to help then.
It's always weird. I think I want to write a book. I want to write
Yeah.
a book called How It Happened,
Okay, good.
Because, I mean, sometimes the stories are incredible. Perfect example is there was a lady who was very depressed because her son was a heroin addict. He lived in Colorado, and
Okay.
she was in Milwaukee.
Oh,
I had helped a young man who was in Brookfield, and he and his family was connected to the sister of this woman who was really depressed. They had a family reunion, and she wasn't going to go because she didn't want anybody bringing up her son. She didn't want to talk
I
about
see.
it.
Yep,
She didn't
yep,
want to
yep,
be
yep.
involved in that. And her sister kept saying, you got to come. You got to get out of the house. You can't just sit around and be sad, about this whole thing. Just come, just come, just come. And they went to her house and brought her. And at that gathering, she met Linda, who was the mother of the guy that I helped. And somehow they got into a conversation, and she started talking to me, and she was like, yeah, I didn't want to talk about this, my son in Colorado. And Linda goes, there's a guy here in Wisconsin who will go and find your son in Colorado and help him and get his life back together. And she said, really? Ended up contacting me. Everything worked out. I ended up going out to Colorado.
did you?
And today he is a chef. He was in a restaurant, had lost the job, and was homeless.
Okay.
And he wanted to work in restaurants. He loved it, but his addiction kept him from
Yeah.
doing that. And I said, I promise you, I will help you through this whole thing, and you will be able to do what you want to do. Just let me help you. Ended up, he graduated from a Teen Challenge program. I
Okay.
moved him out to a Teen Challenge in Chicago, and then went from Chicago. He went to California, and then from California, when he graduated from Teen Challenge, he transitioned down to the Cordon Bleu University and got his chef's
So he
degree.
got his life together, didn't he?
Yes.
Saved a life again. Fantastic.
And today he's a chef.
Yeah. Good, good, good. So you started working in Dodge County area, Beaver Dam, and got to know some of these.
Well, yeah. I mean, you come into a new environment, and, now I call this my home.
Uh-huh.
There are people here who struggle.
Everywhere.
There are
isn't
people
it?
everywhere who struggle. So I know how it goes. I mean, this is at almost the peak of my work, and things were just going well. Things were moving. When I got here, it was almost immediately I started getting press because of what I was doing.
Okay.
You know, and I think that fed into the problems too. But at the end of it all, it was like, why wouldn't I work with this district attorney, with this court system, and help them to have the success that I'm having with people who need that help?
Sure.
And literally everybody. There are certain court systems around the country that literally have a 0% recidivism with my students.
0% what?
Recidivism.
What's that?
That means that when somebody gets into trouble, they go through the court system. If they get arrested again, that is recidivism. It means that they came through the system and then came back.
So something didn't work.
So something didn't work.
Okay.
So when a court system says that they have a recidivism rate, it's the people that they have put through their court systems that have now come back into their court systems. So the number is, the higher the number, the worse it is.
Right.
So if you have 100% recidivism, everybody that goes through your court system's coming
That
back.
wouldn't be good.
No. So there are court systems out there, and Dodge County is one of them, that has 0% recidivism with me.
That's good.
The people that I've helped have not come back.
Wow. Well, you've gotten to know a little bit here about where we've come from, and we're going to close off this session, and the next portion will be how we got to where we are today. So thanks for joining us, and look for the next. You'll be around, right, for another one?
I hope so.
Okay. And we'll keep on going here, and you'll get to know just what's happening.